Hello everybody, I'm Carolyn Hernandez and I'm here interviewing our Medway High School's brand new assistant principal. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, my name's Sonja Metcalf and this is my first year here at Medway High School and I'm very excited to be here.
All right, awesome. So just some introducing yourself questions. Where are you from? Like what school were you at before, if you were at one, or?
Sure, so prior to coming to Medway High School, I was an assistant principal at North Attleboro High School for 3 years. And then prior to that, I was a Spanish teacher for 15 years and also an assistant band director for 14 years.
Wow, I would have never guessed.
So 11 of those years teaching Spanish were at King Philip Regional High School. And I was a band director at Douglas High School.
That's so cool. That's a very colorful teaching background you have. So what brought you to Medway High School? Was it like a transfer or some sort, or?
So I was new to the role of being an assistant principal and just wanted to find a school that was aligned with my educational philosophy and my values, and wanted to be in a place where I felt like I could have a contribution to the teaching and learning and just the culture of the school. And I live nearby, so I know a little bit about Medway just from living in the area in the next town over. So when I heard about that opportunity, I was really excited about the prospect of potentially coming to work here.
Wow, that's very nice. That's like a noble reason to go join. Like you could have worked anywhere, but you chose here. That's awesome.
Thank you.
So what do you think of the school so far and the students? You acquainting well?
It's been great so far. I started July 8th, so I had some time over the summer to get to know the building a little bit and the numbering system for the rooms and just the campus in general.
Nice.
Administrators work year-round, so I had the opportunity to work with Dr. Murray and Mr. List and the front office staff, and just to try to learn as much as I can about just the daily happenings of school before we actually went back to school. And then I had some opportunities over the summer to meet students who are in for tours and freshman orientation, and that was a great day. That was, exciting to finally start meeting people and get ready for the new school year. We also had a student athlete leadership meeting, professional development section. So that was a great opportunity to meet some of the student leaders that are athletes as well. So I think that gave me kind of a head start, getting to know a little bit about the students and some of the advisors and coaches here. And then of course opening day, we had 2 days with staff, and that was a great opportunity. And it's been great. I've spent a lot of time in classrooms, pretty much every day in classrooms, getting to know the great courses we offer here and the teachers and of course the students. So the first year everything's new, and it's the first time going through everything, and we had the first senior boat cruise, my first senior boat cruise over the weekend, and homecoming last week. So everything's the first time experiencing it. But so far it's been really fun.
That's great. I really think people will appreciate how involved you're trying to get, because some people like to sit on the sidelines at times and not really engage with students, but I think you've done a good job doing that. So I think it goes without saying that most of us appreciate that. Do you see any differences between the school and the old one? Just
I think size-wise, it's a little smaller. There were a little under 1,200 students at my previous school, and we have about 700 here. So I think that's a great opportunity to get to know students on a more personal level. That's my goal. This year I'm working with freshmen and juniors, and we'll be moving with those students next year when they become sophomores and seniors. So I think it's important to build those relationships. So it certainly helps having a slightly smaller school so that I'm able to get to know everyone on a more personal level. So that's probably the biggest difference.
And I feel like a big challenge with that is getting to know the students is like you want the students to get to know you a little bit.
Yeah.
So is there anything that you would like students to know about you?
I hope that I'm approachable, that people know that. I think a lot of times the position of assistant principal is associated most with discipline, and that's certainly part of my role here, and we need to make sure the school is safe and people are following procedures and being accountable for their actions. So that's certainly part of my role, but it's not my entire role. So I would hope that students would know that. I'm working with clubs and activities, so if people have ideas or suggestions, I'm open to meeting with people. I like saying hi to people at lunch and in the halls, and I hope that students know that they can say hi, and that I'm definitely someone that they can seek out if they have questions or need assistance with anything. that my role is not just dealing with discipline.
It's funny you say that, because one of my questions was going to be like, why did you decide to become an assistant principal, and what are the roles that come with that? And I feel like that you're doing like a great job like just defining that. What would you say, why did you decide to become an assistant principal? Like, was there any particular reason?
I think a big part of it was wanting to affect school-wide culture, school-wide teaching and learning. I was a department head as a world language teacher, and very involved with being a faculty advisor for different clubs and groups within campus. And I loved all of that, but also was really interested in wanting to have an impact school-wide. And so that's why I pursued going into administration.
That's very interesting. What would you say the biggest challenges you face as an assistant principal might be in the future?
In the future, as far as this year, I think it's just getting to know people, and people getting to know me. I know it's important to build relationships, and that's one of our core values too, building strong relationships and mutually respectful. So I know that takes time, so it's not something that's going to happen overnight, but it's definitely a goal of mine to work towards that throughout this year, and obviously into the future beyond this year. But I think especially as a first year administrator here in Medway, just making sure that I'm doing my best to try to make those connections.
That's great. Given all that, do you think that you might be here for a while? We kind of hope you would.
I hope so.
Yeah, I
hope so.
Getting to know you now, I hope that most people look back on this and think, they're getting to know you better and will be able to approach you in the future. I feel like that's a great part of doing the interview with you. In addition to getting to know you, I recall from one of the assemblies that you referred to yourself as a she, her, just introducing your pronouns. Why did you feel it was important to mention this?
So I think it ties in with equity and inclusion. There's so many different gender identities and that people relate to and identify with, and I think it's important not to make assumptions. So that's one of the ways people can use their pronouns when introducing themselves, and I also have them in my email signature, just to kind of set the norm that people should feel open and able to do that, and be who they are, and know that I value inclusion and equity and making sure that people feel safe, and that's one of many things that we can do here to make sure that people are seen and feel heard, and that there's a place for everyone.
That's great. I feel like inclusion is something very important in this school, particularly. We have a lot of kids who are diverse in like their way, the way that they interact, with other people. A lot of different personalities is what I'm trying to say.
Sure.
So do you have any finishing remarks that you'd like to say before we wrap it up?
Just that I'm really happy to be here. I took the job search very seriously and made sure that I was learning as much as I could about the school and the community, and wanting to find a place, like you had mentioned earlier, about being somewhere for a while, and that's important to me. I was in one district for 11 years and taught music in a district for 14 years, so it is something that's important to me to find a good fit, and I feel like I've done that. I feel like I have a lot to learn here as a person, but also I have a lot to contribute here as well. So I'm really happy to be here, and thank you for taking the time to have me on your show here, and I'm really glad that I'm here at Medway High School.
Thank you for coming. I mean, I really do appreciate it. I think we definitely learned a lot about you, and I'm excited to see what the future brings.
Great, me too.
Great,
Thank you.